Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome. From the four corners of the world, to the four corners of this ring, the fight starts now! Touch close. How do you like it? Oh, for show. So aggressive, so focused. Look at these two guys. Still the undisputed champion of the
world. New York City, which just days earlier hosted one of the biggest fight cards of 2024, is now the home to a potentially transformative press conference days later. Welcome inside Gotham Hall here in the heart of New York City, Manhattan, to be specific. We're in moments away from the launch of a big press conference, big announcement coming here in New York. I'm Chris Mannix, joined by two-time welterweight champion Shawn Porter and the well-traveled Mr. Eddie Hearn, stuck around New York for an extra few days for this massive event. And we're going to get Eddie to the specifics of this press conference later, but this is just one of many big events coming up over the next few weeks. We are now less than a month away from the heavyweight unification fight between Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk, live Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. How are you feeling about that fight?
So excited for boxing in general. I mean, last Saturday we saw two of the best young guns in the game go at it. Today, a few minutes away from just a major announcement for US and world boxing. Riyadh season card is coming to the US. Another culmination of all the leading promoters in the world bringing the best fights to what I believe is the best fight card we've seen in the US for a long time. So boxing's flying. And of course, when you're flying, the undisputed heavyweight world championship is a beautiful fight to have. For me, one of the biggest in the sport, one of the most compelling matchups. Tyson Fury against Alexander Usyk. I'm backwards and forwards. I am Team Fury on this one. He's the Brit, and of course I want that AJ fight, but Usyk's just that guy, that look in his eyes to say, how do you beat him? And I saw him in training camp the other day, and I just switched back to Usyk, and I don't know, I'm probably going to be on Fury tomorrow, but what a fight, and an absolute golden spell for the sport of boxing.
Shawn, if you asked me a year ago to predict the winner of Fury against Usyk, I would have been pretty confident saying Tyson Fury wins that fight. If you ask me right now, I'm not so sure. How do you feel about it?
Well, that's the best part about this fight. You got two guys that are more than capable of conquering the other. I think size is a big component in this fight that lies on the side of Tyson Fury. But when you have size, one thing that Tyson Fury does have is speed, but not as much speed as the smaller Usyk. So, I mean, it really is a 50-50 fight. It's one of those fights that you can't help but want to watch because you don't know who's going to win this fight. There's so many different variables and outcomes that we could have. Best fight on this year is going to be.
And you know what's remarkable about this press conference today is that I'm seeing people in the same room that I never thought would be in the same room before. I mean, you just over the last year have developed a friendship now with Frank Warren. Now you see representatives from PBC. You see some people from other promotional entities. This really is bringing the sport together.
And it's taken His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh because he's the guy in the middle with no past relationships, no politics, no disputes. So, you see on this card, you've got fighters from PBC, you've got fighters from Golden Boy, you've got fighters from Matchroom, you've got Gold Star, you've got Queen, you've got all these promotional companies. That would never happen. Like, if I tried to make this a couple of these fights on the card between Golden Boy and PBC, it would take months, and it probably wouldn't even happen. His Excellency's coming in with a vision, and of course the financial power, and saying, guys, I want the best card I can. And in Los Angeles on August 3rd, I'm telling you, it's going to blow your mind what you're about to see. And it just shows you how great the sport can be when we all come together. And, he's brought myself and Frank Warren together. So if he can do that in the UK, I'm sure he can continue to bring all the promoters together in this country as well to give the fans just what they want.
Shawn, I think you'd agree as a longtime PBC fighter, it's great to have everybody working together.
Absolutely. I mean, to your point, I've seen people here in this room today that I didn't expect to even see here today. You know what I mean? So, again, to your point, we're seeing all of these different promoters come together. It's because of Your Excellency. His Excellency, he's been able to really the financial backing, put things together, and it's almost like a kid in a candy store. He's like, you know what? This is what I want. Oh yeah, and I want that too, and I want that too, and oh yeah, by the way, here's so make it happen.
But you know,
and now you guys have really gotten together. Go ahead.
The amazing thing is that he is a pure fight fan, and what has been incredible is he reads everything, right? Like we all do on social media. And I think one of the, not criticisms, but one of the, the mindsets of a fight fan is, oh man, all these great fights are going to Saudi Arabia. What about the UK? What about America?
Yeah.
And he realizes that those are two very important markets. Now with Riyadh season, he's bringing these huge fight nights, hopefully to Wembley in September, and now to Los Angeles. So now I think this is a response to fight fans to say, no, we're growing the game on a global level. And although Riyadh season is situated in Riyadh, the commercial opportunities exist globally to push Riyadh season and to bring a card like this. This is a card that you would expect to see in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
Now you're seeing it in Los Angeles. It's massive for US boxing.
So you mentioned rivals becoming friends now because of all this coming together, but rivals are still rivals. And on June 1st, you have got a rivalry to settle with Frank Warren, the 5-on-5 Queensberry versus Matchroom. As we sit here a month or so away, how confident are you feeling in what your team's going to bring?
I'm confident we get the win. I've given Deontay Wilder my captaincy. He's got double points for the night. He needs to knock Zhang out to give me 4 points. And when we look at this card, this is incredible. But let's take a moment to look at June 1st in Saudi Arabia as well. Bivol against Beterbiev. I mean, we're forgetting that's not the 5v5. That's the main event. Probably the best fight in boxing, right? The undisputed 175-pound championship. Wilder against Zhang. Hrgovic against Dubois. Shiraz against Amo Williams. Ray Ford against Nick Ball. Craig Richards against Willie Hutchinson. 6 complete 50-50 fights, right? It's a toss-up when you look at the two cards. Which is the greatest card I've ever seen? And I've got the feeling now with His Excellency in Riyadh season, I'm going to be saying that a lot. The greatest card I've ever seen, and it's just so good to sit down. Look at that.
So let's take a look at the screen here, Eddie. Which of these fights excites you the most?
Well, I mean, firstly, obviously it's 5-0 to Matchroom, but, I look at it and I say, you've got, Austin Williams against Hamza Shiraz. I love that fight. Hamza Shiraz, Queensberry are really high on him. He's a great fighter, but Amo's got that something different about him, right? He's got that ability. He can punch very hard. He's very athletic. Look out for Craig Richards against Willie Hutchinson. It's kind of like two Brits, but European level, fringe world level. Richards gave Bivol a really good fight. That's a pure 50-50. And our guy Ray Ford, who I think this guy is the best 126-pounder on the planet, from the same kind of school as Shakur Stevenson. They train together, that same USA boxing team. All of those guys with immense skill. Richardson, Hitchens, Devin, all those guys. Great win last time out on ESPN. Nick Ball's a tough guy. Should have been WBC world champion against Ray Vargas. That should have been a unification. Another 50-50. Hrgovic against Dubois. People talk about Hrgovic as an elite heavyweight, but he hasn't mixed there for a long time.
Yeah.
Had a scrappy win against Zhang that could have gone either way, but people have been talking about him for a long time. And Dubois back with a good win over Miller. He punches very hard. I'm talking too much. We've lost the graphic. And then you've got Wilder Zhang. That's a career ender.
And I got to ask, who came up with the concept of this 5-on-5?
His Excellency.
That's a beautiful...
We were at a press conference like this, and we were about to start another press conference, and he took the mic and he said, just to let you know, I want to do Frank Warren against Eddie Hearn, Matchroom against Queensberry, because once he saw the reaction of even me and Frank shaking hands, the internet went mad.
Yeah.
And the concept's so smart. Fans are getting behind the points, the rivalry between the promotional companies, the narrative, and of course the commercials, the promos that these guys are creating are
so sexy.
I mean, they should win
sexy.
Oscars.
Sean, I never thought I'd see the day where Deontay Wilder was the captain of a Matchroom team. I never thought I'd see that day ultimately happen, given the back and forth. But that is the fight I love the most on that card, because that truly is a winner-go-home type of fight. To the winner go the spoils, potentially a matchup with Anthony Joshua. To the loser, 2 straight defeats, back into their career. It might be the end of the line for them.
If you've been paying attention to boxing, you know that Zhilei Zhang was, inches away from gutting his last fight out, and we saw Deontay Wilder probably have the worst fight of his career imaginable. And so, yeah, you're right that this is definitely not even a crossroads fight. This is the end of the road, end of the line. We're at the dead end, and one guy continues to move on, and the other guy either retires or gets something that he doesn't want moving forward.
2 huge punches.
Yeah.
2 huge punches.
Oh,
Different
man.
kind of power.
Yeah.
One guy puts you to sleep with a bazooka. the other guy hammers you. So you saw, like, Joseph Parker, who fought both guys, said Zhang punches much harder than Wilder.
Wow.
I mean, Wilder didn't really land that clean on him in that fight, but Zhang's got those thudding hands.
Yeah.
He's like 300 plus pounds.
I know.
You know, must win.
How is your relationship with Deontay Wilder now? Because you two had your back and forth, over the last few years. Now we see you kind of hand in hand, all smiles, taking pictures. How's that relationship?
Yeah, I think, we've always got on in person, but in boxing, people fill your head with a lot of stuff. This guy, no, he's no good, don't speak to him. No. And also, with the clickbait that you see, sometimes people grab a headline, they put it on a video, he reads it, he claps back at me. Like, I think the one thing with a lot of these guys is some of them have never had a promoter sort of blowing smoke up them, right? And making them puff out their chest and believe in themselves.
Yeah.
I see it with Jaron Ennis. Recently, like, all of a sudden, he's like, like the walk's a little bit different.
Yeah.
And when I saw Deontay in London, I just said, look, forget the past. This is your time now, this is your opportunity. And when I was giving it the big one at the press conference and I'm giving him the big sell, I can just see the confidence start to rise back within him. He needs to be told, this guy is feared. I said, Deontay, people were petrified of you, or maybe were. You've got to get that streak back, because it happened a little bit to AJ as well. Coming off the Usyk defeats, it was just the fear factor went again. Now, people are looking at AJ going, this man is dangerous. So he's got to reclaim that. And His Excellency had a chat with Deontay as well and said, I want the old Deontay back.
Yeah.
So now he feels like he can be free again.
Yeah.
Say what he wants, be controversial, be that bad guy. And, again...
Sometimes that's what you need, too.
Yeah.
You need a change of atmosphere. You may even need a change of the business to get you going again, make you feel like, hey, I'm going for something new, you know what I mean? So I really think this is right on time for Deontay Wilder, who didn't show himself to be very well the last fight out.
But Sean, like, once you start to become successful as a fighter, life does change.
Yeah.
Things do boxing never gets easier, but life gets a little bit easier, the houses get a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
And, I see it with some fighters, don't go soft on me. I say all the time, because that's the difficult thing.
Yeah,
Marvin
yeah,
Hagler said,
yeah.
silk pajamas, and I think you look at it, and whenever a fighter gets beat, maybe even a little bit like Devin, you just have to sit back and look at your entourage and your team, the way you got the designers in doing your jacket and your robe and your shoes, and just go, I don't know, I mean, you've been there, and
I've been soft for a couple years now. So.
Well,
you weren't soft in your career, though.
There you go.
Massive card coming up on June 1st in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. But in less than 2 weeks' time, a pretty good card coming to Las Vegas when Canelo Alvarez defends his undisputed super middleweight championship against Jaime Munguia.
Canelo Álvarez. Jaime Munguia.
Canelo versus Munguia, live on DAZN, May 4th.
Well, that's an incredible fight coming your way. Less than 2 weeks' time, live on DAZN. Canelo Alvarez, the first Mexican opponent he has faced since he took on Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. And he's facing someone, Eddie, that is unquestionably coming to fight. One thing you can say about Jaime Munguia is that he does not take one step backwards.
I think it's a tough fight. I think when I met with Canelo recently, he liked this fight because he wanted to be in real fights. And I think at this stage in his career, with his body and stuff like that, what he doesn't want to be doing is fight movers. I think he was disappointed with the Charlo fight because he had to chase him down and Charlo was moving. Munguia will be right in front of him.
Yeah.
He's he may try and box a little bit more than we think, but I don't think so. And I think it's a tremendous fight because, as I said, when you reach this stage in your career and you're against a young, hungry, strong fighter, this fight goes 7, 8, 9 rounds and it's at a very, very high pace. You don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
The cuts start opening up, the knee feels a bit, the operation on the wrist. I think Canelo Alvarez wins the fight, and I think he wins it by stoppage or in a points decision late. But I actually think this is a very tough fight, and one that at this stage in the career, you can start to get a little bit found out by a very hungry, strong Mexican.
Sean, I don't think that we're going to see much boxing from Jaime Munguia. I think a man that trained under Eric Morales for so many years and a man that now trains under Freddie Roach, offense is going to be his defense.
Yeah, that's it. When you're talking about Jaime Munguia, that's what you're talking about. You're talking about offense. You're never talking about defense. If anything, you're talking about the punches that he will take. What you talk about also is that he does have a chin. This fight goes past 6, 7 rounds. This could get bad for Canelo Alvarez because you're right, the mileage on that body. Not only does he not want to chase anyone, can he also stand in the pocket and trade and go toe-to-toe with somebody the duration of a 12-round match?
You know what as well, Sean? Sometimes Canelo's output is not that high against fighters. So against Munguia, he's going to have to throw a lot of punches, Canelo Alvarez. And you saw against Ryder, he did that. And then when he threw a lot of punches, he sort of, between the middle rounds, just kind of started to just relax a little bit and take his time. He won't be able to afford to do that against Munguia because he'll get outworked. And that's the interesting thing. So Canelo's got to fight at a high pace as well. And that's what I'd be saying. I mean, I'm sure Morales will be saying exactly the same. But from the first bell, pressure this guy. Be smart with it. He's smarter than I thought. When he fought John Ryder, he impressed me. You know, we knew he would come with a lot of output, but actually his movement was good. His defense was better than we thought as well. And I think this is a really good fight.
Eddie, we're moments away from starting this press conference. But answer me this: has His Excellency expressed interest in bringing Canelo over during a future Riyadh season?
Yeah, I think His Excellency is going to do, you know, whatever he wants to do. And obviously he's a massive fan of elite fighters. You know, you've seen it with Terence Crawford in due course. I've dropped that one. You know it's coming. And, you know, Canelo Alvarez, we've seen it with AJ, Fury, Alexander Usyk. You're going to see all of these fighters in the kingdom real soon.
All right. Well, we're going to see a bunch of fighters over there in the future. For now, let's talk about this press conference. Let's get it underway and throw it up to the Hall of Famer, Mr. Michael Buffer.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon and welcome to Gotham Hall here in Manhattan, New York City, New York, USA, for a very special announcement and press conference as Riyadh season is coming to America and brings an evening of world-class professional boxing for your entertainment on August 3rd in Los Angeles. So, ladies and gentlemen, at this time, let's meet the representatives of our featured fighters. First, coming to the stage, on behalf of Solita Promotions, please welcome Chris de Blasio. Hi, Chris. Good to see you. And representing Andy Ruiz Jr. is his trainer, Jacob Osuna. Jacob. And ladies and gentlemen, here's one of my all-time favorite names to introduce, and he is representing as the manager of Isaac Cruz, Sean Knucklehead Gibbons. When you know somebody for 40 years, you can introduce them like that. The promoter for David Morrell, Luis de Cuba Sr. And the chairman of Matchroom Boxing, on behalf of Andy Cruz, please welcome promoter extraordinaire, Eddie Hearn.
Extraordinaire.
So now, ladies and gentlemen, let's meet some of the fighters. We've got most of them here. They're not all here, but originally from Cuba, now living, training, and fighting out of the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The Olympic gold medal champion, undefeated as a professional in 3 fights, 3-0, Andy Dynamite Cruz. Andy Cruz, Olympic gold medal champion, 3-0 as a pro. His opponent, Antonio Moran, is not here, but let's give Andy a round of applause. It's going to be a great night in Los Angeles, August 3rd. Next up, fighting for the vacant WBA light heavyweight world championship against Radiovic Kalazoric. And he's not here. Please welcome super middleweight world champion David Morrell. There he is, coming up behind me, David Morrell. Super middleweight world champion. Thank you, David. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's move to the heavyweight division. The big boys are in the house. From Brooklyn, New York, his record stands at 26 victories, 22 big wins by knockout, 1 defeat, 1 draw. Jarrell Big Baby Miller. Brooklyn's in the house, Jarrell. Good to see you. And his opponent, ladies and gentlemen, fighting out of California, USA, an outstanding professional record consisting of 35 victories, 22 big wins by knockout, only 1 defeat with 1 draw. Ladies and gentlemen, former heavyweight champion of the world, Andy Destroyer Ruiz. The Destroyer, Andy Ruiz. He shocked the world his last time here in New York. Let's see if he can do it again in California. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we have another world title bout on this card. It's for the Super Lightweight Championship of the World. The challenger, originally fighting out of Los Mochis, Sinaloa, Mexico, now living, training, and fighting out of Seattle, Washington, USA. His record stands at 13 victories, 9 wins by knockout, only 2 defeats. Jose Valenzuela. Looking more like a professional model than a fighter right now, Jose. You look great, buddy. Now his opponent, ladies and gentlemen, the defending champion, comes to us originally from Ciudad de Mexico, and his record stands at 26 victories, 18 of those 26 by KO, only 2 defeats with 1 draw. Ladies and gentlemen, the reigning defending WBA Super Lightweight Champion of the World, Isaac Pitbull Cruz. The Pitbull, Isaac Cruz. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, let me throw it over to our host for the press conference, Mr. Ade Oladipo.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you very, very much. Welcome, everyone, to Gotham Hall in New York for, as you can see, what is an incredible announcement here today. Boxing in the last 12 months, I think it's fair to say, has shown that if done correctly, it can be what it was in the 70s and 80s, which is the best sport in the world. That doesn't happen by luck. It doesn't happen by not working. I think we've seen with what we can see on the top table today, it only works when promoters align, when broadcasters decide to work with each other, and when partnerships are formed. What also has happened in the last 12 months is that Riyadh has become the home of big-time boxing. We have to go back to October for Battle of the Baddest, Tyson Fury against Francis Ngannou, the lineal heavyweight champion against the former UFC heavyweight champion. We then moved on to Day of Reckoning in December, Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder sharing a spectacular card, and then on to Knockout Chaos, where Anthony Joshua delivered what was an unforgettable KO against Francis Ngannou. That all happened in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. But it doesn't end there. May 18th, the first undisputed heavyweight championship of the century will be crowned as part of Riyadh season, as Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk finally meet in a ring of fire with everything on the line. And then on June 1st, one of the best fights in boxing heads to the Riyadh again. Another undisputed champion will be anointed, this time in the stacked light heavyweight division. Pound for pound pair, Artur Beterbiev and Dimitri Bivol vying for honours. And also on that card, UK promotional rivals Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren pit their 5 of their best fighters against each other as Matchroom and Queensbury go for bragging rights on the line in 5 versus 5 in a Riyadh season original. But here in New York today, another dawn in boxing as Riyadh season US is born. And we are here today to announce the first ever Riyadh season US event in America. as on August 3rd we head to the City of Angels, Los Angeles, at the BMO Stadium, the home of LAFC Soccer Club, for an unprecedented night of world-class fights and entertainment in an event delivered by His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh in conjunction with Riyadh Season and GIA. Before we begin speaking to the top table, I would like to take a moment to thank those involved in these groundbreaking events and making these events happen. Firstly, we would like to extend our heartfelt thanks to the custodian of the two holy mosques, King Salman bin Abdulaziz, to His Royal Highness the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, and of course His Excellency Chairman of GIA, Turki Al-Sheikh. And a huge thanks as well to all the teams of GIA, Riyadh Season and Seller, as we continue to work together to deliver huge events in the kingdom and now, of course, in America. Eddie, I'll start with you on this one. We've worked so many big shows together, so many big press conferences. Every single time we do a big press conference, we say this is the greatest fight card we've ever seen. This is, again, another incredible fight card.
Yeah, thanks, Eddie, and welcome everyone here today. I think since we've met His Excellency and we've seen this incredible golden era for boxing, I've lost count of the amount of times I've said this is the best card I've ever seen. We have to understand that this is a Riyadh Season event in America. And I think that's really important to note, because the power shift of major fights, of course, have been travelling to Riyadh. Of course, with the Battle of the Baddest, as you said, with Tyson Fury against Francis Ngannou, the Day of Reckoning, which was a groundbreaking event, Joshua against Ngannou, the undisputed heavyweight world championship coming up on May the 18th, and just 2 weeks later, arguably the best fight in boxing, Artur Beterbiev against Dmitry Bivol and the 5v5. But one thing I've noticed about His Excellency is he reads and he listens to the fans, and I think a lot of fans have said, these big fights, they're always in Saudi Arabia now, and don't forget the UK, don't forget the US, and of course the talks of a major event for Riyadh Season at Wembley Stadium, and now in Los Angeles on August 3rd, I have to say, the best card I've ever seen in US boxing. I mean, when you talk about Terence Crawford, the pound-for-pound #1, trying to establish himself as a 4-time world champion, in itself, that is a huge pay-per-view event against Israel Madrimov, the fierce Uzbek world champion. But then you look across the card, and you look to my right and left, and there's so many elite fighters. Isaac Cruz, I think one of the most entertaining fighters on the planet. Jose Valenzuela, that is going to be an all-out war. The big heavyweights, Andy Ruiz, one of our favourites against Jarrell Miller. These guys have got plenty of history across the heavyweight division. David Morrell, who I think is one of the best fighters in the world today. Andy Cruz, a fellow Cuban. And of course, don't forget as well, Tim Tszyu against Virgil Ortiz. I think one of the best fights you could possibly make in boxing. And it's a culmination, again, of all the leading promoters in the world. You know, in the last 48 hours, you've seen all those promoters come together to make this card. The politics have been eradicated. The relationships have been eradicated. And His Excellency has said, I just want to deliver great fights. And on August the 3rd at the BMO Stadium in Los Angeles, you are going to get an event you will never forget. I think the greatest fight card the US has ever seen. And again, thank you to everybody involved. And of course, this Riyadh Season card in America is going to be incredible. His Excellency, thank you for your vision. Thank you for your investment in the sport. But, you know, most of all, thank you for just lighting up this sport, taking the politics away, making all these promotional companies work together and give fight fans exactly what they want. This is a golden era for the sport of boxing, and we're loving every minute of it.
Thanks, Eddie. I want to go to the man to your right, Sean Gibbons. Sean, we've spoken so much about not just Isaac Cruz that you have, right, the pit bull that everyone's scared of, but just other fighters you have in your stable. But focusing on the world champion to your right, just how special could he be? How special is he now?
Hello. Thank you, everybody, for coming today. First, I'd like to thank a few people. I'd like to thank Al Heyman of PBC Boxing, His Excellency for coming together with this vision, Matchroom Boxing, Mr. Eddie Hearn, our co-promoter, Tom Brown, our promoter, Manny Pacquiao, and seller director, Dr. Rakan. Sorry, my voice is a little hoarse. I'm always yelling at Isak in his fights. But when you're doing a card in Los Angeles, it doesn't get any bigger than the new face of boxing, Isak Pitbull Cruz, and of course Andy Ruiz. You know, when Isak won his world title against Rolly Romero, it's kind of been like Beatlemania Since then, it's a pit bull mania, though. And, you know, to do a card in Los Angeles and to have Isaac Cruz on the card, it's phenomenal. And his opponent, Jose Valenzuela, it's a can't miss, all action, Mexican style fight. That the type of fights the fans want to come out and see.
Thanks, Sean. Thank you very much, and well done for going with the voice as well, Sean. Chris de Blasio is there. Chris, obviously here representing Salita Promotions. Chris, just how big is it for Salita Promotions to be involved in what Eddie Hearn is saying is the biggest card we've seen in America, maybe ever?
Thank you, Andy. Yes, incredibly thankful and grateful on behalf of Salita Promotions to be part of this event, Riyadh season and the debut in the U.S. Very exciting fight card for sure. Dimitri Salita couldn't be with us today as he is observing the Passover holiday, so I'm here to represent for him and thank on his behalf and behalf of Salita Promotions His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh and Dr. Rakan. Salita Promotions is thrilled to be part and thankful to be part of this event, which is shaping up to be like a United Nations of boxing. In the often segmented and very competitive sport of boxing, it's great to see so many promoters, managers, and fighters come together to put on a monster fight card like this, and we couldn't be more proud to be part of it. For Jarrell Miller, this fight represents a shot at redemption, an opportunity to reset his position as a contender for a heavyweight world title. And I think it's only fitting that he does so against the man in Andy Ruiz, who is also looking to reset himself for a shot at a heavyweight world championship. There's high stakes in this heavyweight fight for sure. There's high stakes up and down this card, and I know we all can't wait for August 3rd.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Chris.
You.
Really appreciate it. Thank you. I want to speak to this man here, a man that I've stalked and followed for years. He's put on some of the biggest fight cards that we've seen, Louis de Cubas. Louis, you've been there, you've done it all, you've seen it all. Just how different is this for you?
Well, first of all, I want to thank Mr. Al Heyman, BBC, and Dr. Rakan, and this is Turkey. To me, it's unbelievable the involvement of Carl is this with so many great fighters. It's great to, everybody's working together, make the best fights happen. And, it's great. I was just in Saudi. It's a great place to go. I was there with Frank Sanchez's last fight. They treated me unbelievably. They're great people. And it's great they're coming in and making the best fights happen. So, it's great for boxing. And now with the David Morrell situation, we'll be able to prove who the best light heavyweight in the world is after all clears out.
Thank you very much. Cheers, Louis. All right, let's start hearing from the fighters, right? That's who you guys have come to hear from. I want to start with former unified heavyweight champion of the world, Andy Ruiz. Andy, with these events in Saudi, everyone's been continually asking me, where's Andy Ruiz? All the other heavyweights were there, you weren't there. You're back now. Is the aim, obviously, if you get past Jarrell Miller, to go again for a world heavyweight title?
Yes, sir. I'm just super happy to be back, man. I spent a year and 8 months not doing nothing, and a lot of ups and downs, a lot of roller coasters, life. But I'm glad that God gave me another opportunity. Everybody that's involved in this big, amazing card in August 3rd in Los Angeles, I thank them so much too. And I'm ready to rock and roll, man. August 3rd is going to be the return of Andy Ruiz and the consistent Andy Ruiz, the focused Andy Ruiz, and I just can't wait to get back in there.
What type of challenge do you think Jarrell Miller brings to the table?
Jarrell brings a lot of challenges, He's big. He likes to smother his opponents. He likes to bang it out in there. He's not an easy opponent. He's not just a guy that I'm going to walk him out and win easy. I got to stay focused. I got to be prepared, and I got to do what I do best and win my fights.
Let's welcome in big baby Jarrell Miller. Jarrell, this is your city. We're in New York. Jarrell, obviously, look, defeat last time out against Daniel Dubois. How has that changed you mentally and preparation for this one?
I mean, there's so much that was going on before that fight. And just having 3.5 full weeks to prepare for Daniel Dubois was not the ideal moment. But I took a chance because I know it would put me back into the position I wanted to be in. It was a great card. Shout out to Turkey, His Excellency, and all my brothers out there. Assalamu alaikum. It was a lot of BS going on around that fight. Signing a contract, finally signing a contract 2 weeks before the fight. My own co-promoter, Sleater, suing me for $5 million for two weeks before the fight. Couldn't get camp together, couldn't get training funds together. It was a lot of BS. And, as a fighter, we're risking our life in there, and we just want to focus on do our job. And then when you have people in your back that's constantly, nagging you and aching you, it's hard to do that job, and like I said, I had Dubois out of there, but mentally I just clocked out in the 5th or 6th round. Dubois didn't hurt me. He didn't beat me, I beat myself. And even Turkey said it to me after the fight. He's like, I want you back. Dubois didn't beat you. You beat yourself. And it hurts because I'm a person who wears my pride on my shoulders. I come to kill, I come to hurt, I come to fight, and for me it's to go out that way is not cool. So coming with this fight now, I have more than enough time to prepare, and the difference between that fight and this fight is I have time to prepare. If you watch any one of my fights on my track record beside Dubois, either I knock you out or I dominate and I beat your ass, so with this fight I have time to prepare, and they called me about the Andy fight and I was like, oh gee, that's one of the bros, so I picked the phone up, they called me and I called Andy and I said, Brody, I'm like, yo, did I have permission to kick your butt? And he's like, he's like, man, listen, man, I want to fight, man. I want to fight bad. And I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's two brothers go in there, we bang it out, man. And, it's nothing but love. It's no animosity between me and Andy. It's just business, And I told him, no matter what happens after the fight night, you're still taking me fishing, bro. So I don't want to hear that. But, like I said, this is boxing, man. And it's a great card to be on. I can't wait to go in there and just do what I do best, man, and that's kick ass, and this is my last fight with Sleater Promotions, and we're gonna keep it cordial, we're gonna keep it respectful, and we're gonna get the job done, and after that, me and Eddie gonna go out for a pint, But like I said, man, it's great to be home, great to see my friends and family out here in New York City, but at the same time, you got to keep things in aspect when it comes to boxing and the politics. Even though we're doing the press conference in New York, we're doing a fight in LA, which is Andy Ruiz's background, his hometown. So, I'm going to be fighting not just him that night. So I'm going in there. I'm motivated, looking at a couple options in training camp right now. I'm not going to say where exactly, but best believe this. I'm going to kill myself in camp. I'm not no journeyman. I'm not no mother effing stepping stone. I come to seek and destroy and hurt things. So I can't wait for August 3rd, and thank you guys for tuning in and showing up. There's no shit talking today, guys. I'm sorry. There's not that kind of opponent.
We have time. There's still a few months left.
Listen. I don't know, man. I gotta figure out a punchline or something. I don't know. Maybe it's like the battle of fast food, Nikito Taco Bell versus the Burger King. You know what I mean? So
that's a good start.
Best man wins, But like I said, man, it's nothing but love, man. It's awesome. I think me and him is gonna have fun. I think we're gonna feel each other out the first round or two. And that's how sometimes fights start. But the minute he punched me and I punch him, all that shit go out the door. So, like I said, it's gonna be a fun fight. And I can't wait. And it's great. And be right back where I'm supposed to be. And it's gonna put us right back in the top 3, top 2, and big opportunities to come.
Yeah, it's going to be a fantastic fight. I think everyone excited about that one.
Yeah.
Eddie, a bit of a surreal moment for you in the middle. Obviously, Andy Ruiz fought AJ. It was supposed to be Jerome Miller fighting AJ right here in New York. This must feel strange to be in between both of them.
Yeah, crazy. I mean, look, Jerome Miller was supposed to fight AJ. Obviously, that fight didn't take place. Andy Cruz slid in my DMs. He got the chance of a lifetime and broke our hearts. Broke our hearts at Madison Square Garden. We got the win in Riyadh, but it was an amazing mix between these two and a great fight. I have to take my hat off to Andy Ruiz because this is really a comeback fight, and to take Jerome Miller as a comeback fight is a dangerous move. So two great characters, and two great strong heavyweights. Andy Ruiz needs to get back in this game, and to do it in Los Angeles in front of 22,000 people, it's going to be a brilliant fight.
Yeah, so many fantastic fighters on this card. One of the best, without a shadow of a doubt, is David Morrell, who has been, I think, one of the best 168-pounders for a long time. Unable to get the big fights, moving up to 175 pounds now. Why the move to 175? Is it just because right now the 168 division is locked in?
I'm coming for 175 because and anybody no secret for nothing. Like anybody wants CTS give me, So I'm waiting for 175 for this. Like I'm follow Benavides too, Like everything's possible. Like for everybody here, for him like this guy. Thanks him. Thanks Turkey like for the opportunity. Like for here, I'm here in New York. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy, but like
no, your English is good.
My bad. Respondiendo a tu pregunta, o sea, estamos en camino a los 75 por eso,
Who's translating that?
Yes. Basically, he's saying, he's going up to 175, there's 168. We tried every guy in the top division. Nobody wanted to fight him. It looks like everybody, all the fights are going to be at 75 now with Bilbia and Bivol. Benavides going up in weight. And with Morrell, I think, they're all going to end up fighting each other. That's the reason I got to thank Heinz Turkey for making this happen, Dr. Khan, for making the best fights. It would never happen if this wouldn't have happened. So I'm very proud to be here at this table and for, to make something great like this happen.
Good luck on August 3rd, David Morrell. I want to speak to this man right at the end there. One of the most skilled fighters in the world, fantastic amateur record. Now 3-0 as a pro, looking to go 4-0, Andy Cruz. Andy, thank you so much for being here. You've made it look easy so far. This will be a bigger test though on August 3rd.
Has tenido un fantástico comienzo de tu carrera profesional con 3 peleas, 3 victorias y tienes otra gran oportunidad y una dura prueba el 3 de agosto contra Antonio Morán, un oponente con mucha experiencia. ¿Cómo te sientes con este enfrentamiento?
Bueno, primeramente, buenas tardes. Agradecerles a todos los presentes acá porque van a ser testigos, de un evento épico. Decirles que estoy feliz de estar aquí. Agradezco mucho esta gran oportunidad. Siempre, desde que llegué aquí a Estados Unidos, me preparé mentalmente para eventos como este. Y agradezco la oportunidad contra un rival al que no conozco mucho, pero no subestimo a nadie. Todos los rivales en el boxeo son fuertes. Y decirles que voy con todas y van a ser testigos de un evento histórico por parte de Andy Cruz y por parte de todos los peleadores acá que son de los mejores del mundo.
Firstly, good afternoon to everyone here. I'm so happy to be here for this opportunity, and I've been preparing this for a very long time since coming here. I prepared for moments like this. I don't know my opponent very well, but I don't underestimate anyone. I'm going with everything I have, and it's going to be a historic event.
Final one. Eddie's said from the very beginning that he would put you in a world title fight right away. If you come through August 3rd, are you comfortable fighting anyone at 135 pounds?
Su promotor, Eddie Hearn, cree que estás listo para un título mundial. ¿Estás confortable enfrentar cualquier persona a 135 libras?
Por supuesto que sí. Vine a pelear contra los mejores y demostrar de que estoy hecho, de que nada de lo que he ganado en mi vida ha sido regalado, y decirle que a los mejores de la división que voy por ello.
Of course, I came to fight the best and show what I'm really made of.
Eddie, me and you've spoken so much about Andy Cruz that you've said you'll put him in against anyone, whether it be Pitbull when he was at 135, whether it be Shakur Stevenson. Why do you believe in him so much?
I think he proved his quality as an amateur, Olympic gold medalist, and in the professional code we've seen him breeze through guys that you'd normally take on in your 15th, 16th fight and never lose a round. He's had stoppages as well. Bosie's doing a tremendous job with him, with Giron in camp there in Philadelphia. And like a lot of these fighters, David Morrell the same. They're willing to face anybody. The challenge is making sure that you can make the fights. And now we have a real test in Antonio Moran on August 3rd, a Mexican that loves to come forward, has fought some top guys. And I believe Andy Cruz will be ready to fight for the World Championship this year.
Thank you, Eddie. Riyadh season has all been about giving fighters opportunities, and I think if you followed Riyadh season, some fighters have taken them. Joseph Parker beating Deontay Wilder was a big one. This young man has a massive opportunity, and that is Jose Valenzuela, who's coming off a fantastic win against Chris Colbert. I think you actually beat him back-to-back, but you got the stoppage win last time out. Big opportunity against a man that a lot of people were avoiding in Isaac Cruz. Was there any hesitation in taking the fight?
First and foremost, I'd like to thank God, Al Heyman, PBC for this great opportunity. And no, I was in camp already getting ready for Edwin. This big opportunity presented itself, and I took it, no questions asked. It's been a dream of mine since I was 10 to become world champion. And what better than to do it with a Mexican countryman, Isaac Cruz.
You are a 135er. You will be moving up to 140 for this one. Happy? That means you can have a couple of extra meals in the lead up to the fight, or was you always going to go to 140?
Lately, I've been eating a bit more in the gym, and I've been feeling great, more energy, more power. So you know, I'm big for the 35 division. So I think this is the move I needed that I didn't even know.
All right, let's speak to your opponent, the Pitbull, Isaac Cruz. Firstly, Isaac, congratulations. I can see the gold right there. You're now a world champion. How does it feel to be a world champion?
Esta es tu primera vez sentado en un estrado como campeón del mundo. ¿Cómo se siente ser campeón del mundo?
Bueno, antes que nada, muy agradecido con Dios por darme nuevamente la oportunidad de presentarme a Al Heyman, a PBC, a Excellency Turkey, y muy agradecido con todos por el regreso, y muy contento de enfrentar ahora a Rayo Valenzuela y ahora como nuevo campeón del mundo.
You've had so many different style of opponents over the years, and you seem to have handled them all very well. What do you make of Valenzuela as an opponent stylistically for you?
¿Cómo se siente ser un oponente como Valenzuela con su estilo?
Para eso nos vamos a preparar, para descifrar el plan de trabajo para Rayo Valenzuela y darle una gran noche a toda la gente de Los Ángeles.
I've been preparing a lot to confront him and really give a great show to all the people of Los Angeles.
Obviously, I know you and your team won't look past Valenzuela, but there are so many fighters calling you out. Devin Haney is still the WBC champion. Ryan Garcia has called you out as well. Is there a dream fight that you think of for the next year?
Devin Haney sigue siendo campeón en 140 libras, pero últimamente Ryan García también te ha estado criticando. ¿Te interesa a ti una de esas peleas o tienes otra pelea en que sueñas?
A mí me gustaría hacer todo tipo de peleas con todos los grandes nombres, pero ahorita mi mente está enfocada en ganarle a Rayo Valenzuela, y mi promotor Sean Gibbons se va a encargar de que se puedan dar esas grandes peleas.
I'm ready for all types of fights with all the best fighters, but right now I'm really focused on Valenzuela, and I trust my promoter Sean Gibbons to give me the best fights that I can.
Sean, you're nodding. You obviously agree. You like his answer. Again, I said at the top, you've had so many fantastic fighters. I mean, this guy you've got here, I mean, his nickname is actually very true. It's the way he fights. He is a pit bull. You must feel good that you've got something special here.
Yeah, you know, we're very blessed, very blessed that Manny Pacquiao Promotions had never worked with a Hispanic fighter before, and Isaac was the first one we signed, and we've been very, very pleased. Stylistically wise, it doesn't get more exciting than an Isaac Cruz fight.
I feel so bad throwing the question to you. I forgot about your throat. I do apologise, Sean. Look, before we face the fighters off, that is obviously not the end of the undercard. Eddie mentioned it. There is an absolute blockbuster showdown between Virgil Ortiz Jr. and Australia's former world champion Tim Tszyu, which makes it, as you said, Eddie, I think one of the best cards we've seen for years in the US. Right, the fighters are going to face off. We're going to throw it back to Chris Mannix and Sean Porter.
Thank you, Ade. A lot of star power there on stage right now. Andy Ruiz, Jarrell Miller, that heavyweight fight. I never thought we'd see that happen. And Isaac Cruz coming off that massive win over Rolly Romero. Just an incredible undercard, and a lot more to come. And speaking of star power, got some star power here on stage as well. Joining us, Edgar Berlanga, undefeated super middleweight contender, joining us here on stage. Edgar, does seeing that up there kind of get your juices flowing about potentially being part of one of these types of cards down the line?
Oh, definitely, man. I feel like right now, you know, they're going to change the boxing game. You know, we needed that. You know, I feel like we needed somebody like them to come in and drop the bag. You know, they coming from Saudi. You know, they got billions over there, man. So, you know, boxing's not dead, obviously, if guys like this is coming into the game.
So there's some news with you over the last couple of weeks. You see David Morrell, the former regular champ of the WBA, him moving up to 175. You are now officially the mandatory challenger for Canelo Alvarez's WBA title. How do you feel about that?
It feels good, man. I'm blessed. I've been boxing for 20 years. I got a lot of experience, as a fighter growing up. I've been, at the elite level as an amateur. Obviously, I'm getting there. I'm working there now as far as, as a professional now to get to that level. For me, it's legacy. People's running around saying payday, but for me, it's just about legacy. I could become the first Puerto Rican male fighter, undisputed champion. So, that's my goal. But obviously, he has a opposition in front of him next week, and he has to focus on that. And God willing, he wins, he takes that win, and we can make it happen this year. We got the Saudis, we got that's backing it up. That got billions. So we can make that happen for sure.
We're looking forward to that hopefully happening in 2024. Here we have, Sean, two heavyweights. Back in 2019, Jarrell Miller was scheduled to face Anthony Joshua. He was forced out of that fight. Andy Ruiz stepped in, and he had a transformative performance. Now we get the two of them in the ring in a crossroads type of fight.
This is, I think, it's a long time coming right here. Two guys that familiar opponent that they were supposed to fight. Andy Ruiz steps in, has the performance of a lifetime, and now we got right there, we see them joking around and just kind of enjoying the moment. That's what we need to see from both these gentlemen. Both these gentlemen like to use their personalities. That's how they get in the ring and how they put it down with the personality. So I think this is a great fight. Look at that size right there. I think that the size is going to make a lot of sense in terms of these big, heavy blows we're going to get through the duration of that fight. It's going to be a great fight right there.
Edgar, it's been a long time since we've seen Jarrell Miller cordial with an opponent. Usually he's got a lot to say about his opponents. What do you think of this matchup?
It's amazing. I think it's going to be a fight. You got two guys that like to fight. You got a Mexican and you got a brother from Brooklyn. So right there it's going to be a slugfest, man. I'm happy for them. I know they're happy, more than happy that, obviously I know they're getting paid good, as we deserve. All the fighters around the world that's at that level, at the elite level, deserve to get paid. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, like what he said back there, we risk our lives in there. It's a lot of, wear and tear on our body. Obviously you see guys like Pritchard Colon and, Patrick Day, that lost their lives, to the sport of boxing, man. So, as long as, they're making money, they're enjoying it, they're having fun, and, doing it for the sport. That's all that matters.
Sean, a guy that deserves to get paid is that man, Isaac Cruz, coming off a world title win against Rolly Romero. One thing that struck me during that fight was how many fans Isaac Cruz had in the building that night. He was not the headliner, but it felt like he was going in.
You gotta love him. You know what I mean? It's like his approach as a fighter. He's not willing to back down from anybody. He can take a punch, and he's not going to stop all night. And I think at the end of the day, everybody respects boxing because we know we get in the ring, we put it all on the line. You get to see the truth. You get to see who's prepared, who's not, who's been working hard, who's not. And he shows us the truth every time he's in the ring. He's ready, and he's willing to do whatever it takes.
And Edgar, he's fighting a guy in Jose Valenzuela, who I like the swagger of Valenzuela. I remember he fought Chris Colbert the first time. So you know what? I'm going to make it more definitive the second time, goes out and knocks him out. This is going to be a tough fight for Isaac Cruz.
1,000%. But Isaac Cruz is a beast, man. Like I love his style. He reminds me of Mike Tyson. He comes to fight. He ain't running. He ain't doing nothing. He's coming to fight. He's putting his head down like he does. He's going in there to hurt. So that kid has a long night, man, because he's coming to fight.
Yeah, it's going to be a definite fight. And for Isaac Cruz, a lot of opportunity in the 140-pound division. Devin Haney, still a world champion at 140. You've got some other title holders like Teofimo Lopez, Subriel Matias out there as well. A win for Isaac Cruz could position him for one of those big fights.
Yeah, I think he needs one win to really solidify himself as a true champion at 140. Obviously, taking the belt from Rolly Romero was one thing, but now defending it, especially against someone like Valenzuela, of course, making his first fight at 140, we get that, but he's a big 135 pounder moving up now to 140. This will be a legit fight, a legit win. Should Pitbull win it, and then I think you look at him as a legit threat at 140. Before now, we're looking at him like he's a small 135er coming up to 140. He beats Valenzuela. He's all the way legit.
Edgar, how do you think Pitbull matches up with all those top names at 140?
He's a beast, bro. Obviously, you seen him when he fought Gervonta Davis. He gave Gervonta Davis a hell of a fight, and it was a close fight. He had Gervonta on his feet, on his back foot. Basically the whole fight. What you said, I feel like Isaac already proved this point. He made his mark already. Now, what you said, now he got to start defending it. Now he has to show that he's a true champion and, defend his title. But, yeah, man, I think he's a beast at 140. I think a lot of guys going to have a lot of problems. My brother's at 140, Subriel Matias. I feel like that's going to be a fire fight. They got to make that fight happen. I feel like they can marinate it. If they can marinate it a little bit more, you know, and let them catch another win. Let him defend his title. You know, let this guy, you know, my brother fighting Puerto Rico beat. He's fighting who he's fighting that dude from England or something, right? And Puerto Rico, you know, fight him, beat him, and then they can make it happen. You know, that'd be a 5-fight.
Yeah, one of the best young fighters, the best prospects in the game, David Morrell, fighting formerly in your division at 168 pounds. Now he's moving up to 175. You know, for the last year or so, we've seen David Benavidez chasing Canelo Alvarez. At the same time, David Morrell's been chasing David Benavidez out there trying to get that big fight. That is one very good fighter, Sean.
I don't think it's a coincidence to see David Morrell move up to 175. I think that he understands Canelo's handling the business at 168. Canelo ain't going to give me the fight at 168. I might as well move up to 175. And he's moving up with great company. We got Better Be getting in the ring with B-Ball soon, of course. David Benavidez making his first attempt at 175. Should be a successful attempt. And then Morrell following again the chase down. But you got to admire that, and that's why we love boxing. Chase him. Go get him. You're trying to do that right now with Canelo.
Yeah, man. You know, he moved up. You know, Morrell was talking shit after my last fight. So I don't fuck with him, you know what I'm saying? But,
excuse me.
But you can appreciate the talent when you see talent.
Nah, he can fight. Homeboy can fight. He can fight, you know what I'm saying? But like I said, bro, it's more than just fighting in this game. And you know this, you know, it's more than just being a good fighter. You know, you could come into the pro game and be a 3-time Olympic gold medalist and all this crazy amateur background. But if you can't sell a fucking ticket, if you can't bring that crowd with you, if you can't sell out a stadium, if you can't sell out an arena, if you can't go back home and sell out it's nothing, you know what I'm saying? The big fighters, the elite fighters that's making a bag is not going to focus on you, you know, and it's sad to say, but obviously, besides legacy, you know, it's about money in this sport, you know, it's about who could get the bag and who could make the bag and bring the money.
Yeah, so we have to apologize for the language. He's a fired-up guy here. Fighting.
I just got a little upset.
A lot of fire in his belly going to this fight. One other guy I want to talk about, Sean, Andy Cruz, fighting in his 4th professional fight, came into the pro ranks last year with a lot of hype behind him, and I think that hype is deserved. I think he's a special talent, and we have seen kind of him adjust to the pro game really well. That power seems to be coming to him pretty quickly.
Yeah, I mean, he's with the Ennis camp, 2-time Olympian. He's got the pedigree, he's got the experience, he's got even the age, you know what I mean? He's a mature 4-0 fighter, you know, so when you're a mature 4-0 fighter, you've got your man strength and the experience to go along with it. He is what we consider the fast track, and look forward to seeing him really explode, probably the opener of this card right here, but explode and be nothing less than magnificent, representing everything he is to the sport and has been to the sport.
Yeah, and Edgar, he mentioned the fast track, and when you're fighting guys with the kind of experience that Andy Cruz is fighting guys with 30-plus wins like we're going to see him in with Antonio Moran. We're going to find out pretty quickly just what you're made of, aren't we?
Yeah, for sure. You know, Andy Cruz, you know, he's a 2-time Olympic gold medalist.
Yeah.
You know, he has a lot of experience, man. So, you know, and he's been in the game, you know what I'm saying, as far as been around a lot of fighters, you know, so him coming into the pros, him moving, you know how it is, you know, when these guys have 500, 600 amateur fights, you know, you got to move these guys quick. Why? Because they already got a lot of wear and tear on their body, you know, and not only that, they also have a lot of experience, you know what I'm saying, where they could step in with those type of guys, you know. Usually guys like, you know, like guys like me that, you know, like had national championships, you know, 10 national championships, you know, I got 173 fights. I don't have a lot of wear and tear, you know, so there's a building point that you have to do in the pros, so.
And he's looking to get that world title shot sooner rather than later. I think he's going to be a formidable force in the 135-pound division. Well, a massive show coming up on August 3rd, but there is a lot to come here in Riyadh, part of Riyadh season in just a few weeks' time.
Live on DAZN Worldwide, May 18th. The fight of the century. Tyson Fury versus Alexander Usyk for the undisputed heavyweight championship of the world. Tyson Fury looks to reign as king of the division. But Alexander Usyk is undefeated and coming for the crown. For the first time in over 20 years, all the belts are on the line. Ring of Fire, live on DAZN Worldwide, May 18th. Buy now at DAZN.com.
Nah, I'm in Tampa.
And the Undisputed Heavyweight Championship just a few weeks away, May 18th, live on DAZN Worldwide. Somebody's gotta go, and somebody's going home with all 4 heavyweight titles with Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk shared the ring in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Edgar, I saw you watching that fight. You were kind of inching closer and closer to the monitor as you're watching the promo for that. Sounds like you're pretty excited.
Yeah, man. You know, his legacy, you know, both of those fighters is great fighters, man. You know, Usyk, you know, he's coming up from cruiserweight to the heavyweight division to make his mark in the heavyweight division, man. It's going to be a fight. And actually, that's on my birthday too, May 18th. So I'm excited, man.
Sean, I mentioned you earlier, you know, if you'd asked me a year ago how that fight would play out, I'd say Tyson Fury, lopsided decision. But all the events of the last year, the way Fury fought against Francis Ngannou, the way Usyk has looked in his fights, just running through some big names in the heavyweight division, has your opinion changed over the last year?
I can't really say my opinion has changed. However, I will speak to what you just said about Alexander Usyk, the most consistent boxer in the heavyweight division, most consistent boxer that has before he even moved up to the heavyweight division. So it's pretty, when you look at what Alexander Usyk does, you know exactly how this fight is going to play out for him. There's a lot of intangibles though for the Tyson Fury camp, and a lot of things that they can do. You know, again, we talk about the size. That's probably the biggest thing, biggest component to this fight. The fact that he does match him speed for speed, maybe not punch output, but the speed still matches. You know, so this is more 50-50 than I've ever seen in boxing, and especially in the heavyweight division where you always got the power as well. So great boxing match. I still side with Tyson Fury at the moment. Let me see the first round, and I'll tell you who will win the fight.
All right, Edgar, give me your keys for both guys in that fight.
You know, it's going to be tough, you know, like what Porter said. You know, I feel like, man, you know, first of all, Fury's going to have to use his height and his weight as an advantage, a big advantage, you know. But then again, it's going to be hard because Usyk is a beautiful boxer, man. You know, he uses his feet, he's in and out, he's using his jab, you know, he's loose, he's not a tight fighter, you know what I'm saying? He's slick. For me, man, it's going to be a 50-50 fight. You know, I think that, you know, the keys for Fury has to go out there, use his weight, you know, and do what he did with Wilder. You know what I'm saying? Go out there and just, you know, handle his business. And for Fury, man, I mean, for Usyk, I think he's going to have to box, stay on his feet, man, use his jab. You know what I'm saying? Don't run because obviously you fighting a man, so you got to go in there and, you know, handle your business. But yeah, man, I think it's a 50-50 fight.
Man, I'm excited. I'm excited for that big event. Undisputed heavyweight championship crown May 18th. Tyson Fury against Alexander Usyk. Excited about the next phase of this press conference. For that, let's throw it upstairs to Adi Oladipo.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you very much. At the top of the show, I did mention that partnerships are growing the sport of boxing, and I'm really happy to announce another partnership today. The WBA is honored to be partnering with His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh and Riyadh Season to bring the fans the best fights in the sport of boxing. And the partnership proposes to show the values of this beautiful sport to a new generation. The WBA will be increasing the number of WBA KO Drugs Nights of Champion shows and taking them to different parts of the world as well. And those shows will also include fighters from the WBA Future Championships program and stars of the sport in action. In addition, the WBA will be developing their academies to grow the sport globally and give opportunities to young people to fall in love with the sport again. On the stage, we have the WBA President Gilberto Jesus Mendoza and GIA CEO Mr. Faisal Barafat. Gilberto, I know you want to say a few words.
Thank you very much. First of all, I'm honored to be here at this important break. You know, it's a breakthrough through the sport of boxing. As I was President Dr. Faisal, I was born and raised in the sport, and I have seen the influence that Riyadh is putting into us, like more beyond the fans, beyond everything. We're working in unity, all sanctioning bodies, all promoters working together to give the fan the best has been one of the biggest messages I've received from all the things we're looking at. As Eddie said, it's one of the greatest great cards I ever seen. We're going to have a lot of fights coming up. We're going to be able to write a new history in the sport, and we're more than pleased that we are going to be able to work in all the programs that you just have mentioned, our famous KO Drugs. We are just right now doing a program named WBA Future Champions that will give more opportunities, will give you better fighters, will give you fighters that you don't know. And we're more than pleased. You know, we're the first sanctioning body. We're the oldest one. We had a lot of champions, and we always will give opportunity to people to grow, to develop, and to be a better man through boxing. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you, Gilberto. Thank you very much. WBA President Gilberto Jesus Mendoza, alongside the GS CEO, Mr. Faisal Barafat. I know you guys are going to post the photos now as well.
Thank you so much. We're very excited about this partnership. We think a partnership between Riyadh DAZN and organizations such as WBA will open new opportunities and will help further accelerate the growth in boxing. It's good news for the fans and it's good news for the industry. And we're very excited about this. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Faisal, as well. Faisal Barafat, the CEO of GIA. Okay, guys, I do think that someone is going to, if you can maybe stand up, get the belt in front of you, we are going to post the photos. Okay. Also, as well, please, everyone, don't go and disperse. We are going to have Terence Crawford and Israel Madrimov on the centre stage in a few moments. But let's throw it back to Chris Mannix and Sean Porter.
Thank you, Ade. Great stuff. WBA getting involved. Great cause there. Moments away from the main portion of this press conference, Terence Crawford, Israel Madrimov. Phenomenal fight. Phenomenal fight on the undercard, and one of the men on it is standing here right next to us now. Andy Ruiz, the former unified As I mentioned, Andy Ruiz, the former unified heavyweight champion, joining us here on stage right now. Andy, good to have you back, man. It's been a while. You've been kind of out there in the wilderness, wondered if you were going to be back in the ring, but here you are, back in a big fight, back on a big card.
Yes, sir. Thank you, man. And it's been a long time. It's been a year and 8 months. I haven't been active. A lot of ups and downs, a lot of roller coasters, a lot of things that people go through in life. But guess what? We're here. We're ready. We're mentally ready. We're mentally focused and ready to win on August the 3rd.
There's something poetic, Andy, about you facing Jarrell Miller.
Yeah.
You know, Jarrell Miller scheduled to fight Anthony Joshua back in 2019. He falls out. You step in. You have the biggest night of your professional career. Do you think about that? Like, you know, this is the guy that I replaced that night.
I do think about that, and it is kind of weird, but guess what? Things happen for a reason, and I feel this is the right step for me. I think this is the right opponent for me. I didn't want to pick just anybody that they don't know who the opponent is. I wanted somebody that was strong and that was just got done fighting. So I'm really excited for this fight. And after I get this victory, me and him are going to go share some cheeseburgers or something.
It's been a long time since we've seen Jarrell Miller so cordial with an opponent. No trash talk up there on stage. Have you guys been friendly for a while?
Yeah, somewhat. Of course, we have respect for each other. I mean, I respect every fighter in there because we all risk our lives in there. We all risk our lives to feed our loved ones, our family, our kids. But once we're inside that ring, no way, we're not friends. We're not anything. We got to turn on the switch and get back to action.
I gotta ask. It's one thing to have the press conference, the announcement of this fight. I know you've known about this fight for some time. Have you been preparing for this fight and the last fight that he just had against Daniel Dubois? Tell us how you felt about that fight.
Yes, I was there actually in front row. I was actually cheering for him. I was actually telling him to do something different.
Did he do it?
No, he was actually tired. He got tired. You know, there's so many things that us fighters go through that people don't know. So we don't know what really happened to him, but I'm happy he's going to get 3.5 months to get focused and train to fight me because he's going to need it, and so am I because I haven't been in the game for a while, but best believe I'm going to give it all I got and to get that victory.
And in just a few weeks' time, we're going to see heavyweight king crowned when Alexander Usyk and Tyson Fury, Alexander Usyk and Tyson Fury take on each other for the undisputed championship. You are the former unified champion in this division. What do you think of the landscape of it right now and how it looks?
I think right now it's wide open, man. Right now, the heavyweight division is is booming right now. It's really booming. We're just waiting for Tyson Fury and Usyk to see who's going to win. Maybe it could open up more doors for more heavyweights. And the main thing, I just want to get my belts back, man. And I regret that day when I fought in Saudi Arabia where I did not do the things that I was supposed to do. But trust me on this one when I say I'm going to do everything that I can to get those things back, to get the belts back, and to stay champion because I know exactly what I did wrong and I know exactly what I should have been doing right. And now it's a lot of, like I said, man, I've been through so many roller coasters. And I believe that this is going to be my chance, and I got to take advantage of it.
Last time you were in Saudi Arabia, you took that loss to Anthony Joshua. If you get invited back for a third fight with AJ, is that something that interests you?
Yes, of course, man. That's exactly what I've been dreaming about. I won him, he won me. I mean, it's only fair for him to give me one more chance. And in Saudi Arabia, that would be a perfect, extremely good fight over there. But what do I got to do? I got to climb up the ladders. I got to get back in action. I got to be my opponent. I don't want to, how do you say it? I don't want to think that it's going to be easy, an easy route. I can't underestimate him. I got to train hard, but best believe I'm going to get this victory.
Well, Andy, great to have you back. Great to have you part of this big card on
Thank
August
you.
3rd in Los Angeles. To introduce more members of the card, let's throw it back to Michael Buffer.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, Riyadh season is coming to America. On August 3rd, that's a Saturday night in Los Angeles, an evening of world-class professional boxing, including World Championship boxing, will take place, and it will be spectacular. The main event will be for 12 rounds, and it's for the WBA Light Middleweight Championship of the World. A young champion determined to stay undefeated and keep his title. A challenger moving up to his 4th division to capture another world championship. What a great night of boxing. At this time, let's meet the teams involved for that main event on August 3rd in LA. First, the manager for the defending champion. Please welcome Vadim Kornilov. And coming to the stage, the trainer for the challenger, Brian McIntyre. And please welcome to the stage the defending champions, promoter, chairman of Matchroom Boxing, Eddie Hearn. And now, ladies and gentlemen, let's meet the fighters. First, a native of Uzbekistan, now living, training, and fighting out of Indio, California, USA. His professional record, 11 fights, 10 victories, 7 of his 10 victories by KO. He's young, he's a world champion. He plans on keeping that title and defending it against what many say the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world. He's ready to shock the world. Ladies and gentlemen, the undefeated WBA light middleweight champion of the world, Israel, the Dream Madrimov. The undefeated champion, ready to keep that title. And he will be facing the man that universally is considered to be pound for pound the best in the world. From Omaha, Nebraska, USA, a 3-division world champion. In the last 10 years, he's been victorious in 17 consecutive world title fights. 10 of those world title fights ended with a knockout in his favor. 15 of the 17 contests, knockout fights. Ladies and gentlemen, universally recognized as pound for pound the best fighter in the world today. The former lightweight world champion, the former super lightweight world champion, and the reigning undisputed, undefeated welterweight champion of the world, Terrence "Bud" Crawford. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, let's turn it over to our host for the press conference, Mr. Ade Oladipo.
Thank you very much, Michael. It's time for our main event here in Los Angeles. Pound-for-pound superstar Terrence Crawford challenges Israel Madrimov for the WBA and WBO interim World Super-Welterweight titles on August 3rd in an event promoted by Riyadh Season US, Seller, Ligue 1, Matrimon, in association with Gold Star, Queensbury, TGB and Viva MP Promotions. Crawford is gunning to become a full-weight world champion as he moves up to 154 pounds after conquering the welterweight division with that stunning KO win over Errol Spence to be crowned the undisputed champion at 147 pounds back in July in Las Vegas. And now the pound-for-pound great is looking to further his greatness by claiming honours at a fourth weight class. Madrimov is the man that stands in Crawford's way, and the Uzbek champion makes his first defence of his title against the toughest possible opponent after winning that belt in spectacular fashion in his last outing against Madrimov Kurbanov for the vacant title back in March in Riyadh. He stopped the Russian in 5 rounds with a dominant performance to continue his impressive unbeaten run in the paid ranks following a glittering amateur career. And now it's time to hear from the fighters, from the promoters as well. Eddie, I want to start with you. I know you always back your fighters, but I think you know more than anyone just how tough a task this is for Israel Madrimov.
Oh, for sure. Thanks, Addy. And before we start, I think we just need to acknowledge again the event that has been announced today. Riyadh season card coming to Los Angeles, BMO Stadium, 25,000 people. It's going to be, I think, the best card top to bottom we've seen in America. His Excellency, thank you so much, Dr. Rakan. All the work that's gone on in really the last 48, 72 hours. I mean, let's take a look. This guy to my right, the pound-for-pound #1 in the sport. 3-division world champion. Broke our hearts in Scotland many years ago when he beat Ricky Burns. Undisputed at 140. Undisputed at 147. I think everybody now giving him the props as a generational great. The man to my left, this guy is super elite. You know, when he won the world title with ease in Riyadh, to take your first defence against Terence Crawford shows you what he's all about. I promise you this guy will bring everything to this fight. This is a very dangerous fight for Terence Crawford. I believe Bomac and the guys, they know that. And big respect to Terence. He steps straight up, he'll fight absolutely anybody. And just looking at the card once again, I think it's important to break it down, as I said. Terence Crawford against Israel Madrimov, the WBA and the WBO interim world championships. Isaac Cruz against Jose Valenzuela for the WBA 140-pound title. Jarrell Miller against Andy Ruiz back in Los Angeles. And what a fight between Tim Tszyu and Virgil Ortiz Jr. at 154 pounds as well. David Morrell against Hot Rod for the WBA light heavyweight world championship. Andy Cruz against Moran, and still more to be announced. This is, I believe, the greatest fight card top to bottom the US has ever seen. And thank you to these two great fighters. As I said, it's an honour to be working with League One and Terence and his promotional company and all the promoters as part of this Riyadh season event. As always, I back my man. This guy is a super athlete, huge puncher, huge 154-pounder. And all the...
Let's speak to Madrimov's manager, Vadim Kornilov, to your far left. Vadim, you always put your fighters in tough fights. You've always asked for your fighters to be in the biggest fights. This definitely ticks both of those boxes, doesn't it?
Well, it's really about the boxer himself wanting the toughest fight. And to be honest with you, Israel, and Eddie can confirm this, every fight he's had so far, if there was a choice, you know, we would pick the toughest opponent we can get as he was coming up. And when I called the team, you know, when I called my brother Alik and I said, you know, we have this opportunity. At that point, we were discussing the possibility of having Israel defend his title in Uzbekistan at home. And I was like, you know, there's this opportunity, and, you know, opportunities like this come, you know, once in a lifetime sometimes. We might have it today, we might not have it tomorrow. And, you know, all the respect to Team Crawford for taking a tough fight, because I think this is going to be a real competitive fight. And I hope that, you know, Terence Crawford is going to 154 with all the confidence that he's been in all the other divisions as well. You know, as Eddie always said before, he always said that Madrimov is a top prospect, you know, one of the best prospects in the world. He said that publicly before, and I believe that now it's all proving, and Israel is here to make a point and show everybody what he's made of. I think, you know, and another point is that after the Uzbekistan situation, when I told Madrimov and the guys that the fight's going to be in Los Angeles, they said, you know, this is no different from Uzbekistan, because Joel Diaz, Tony Diaz, Israel has been training in Indio, California, basically every camp. I think every camp he's trained over there. So this is like a second home for him, and he was even more excited about that than anything else. And, you know, this is him basically defending his title in his second home, and we're looking forward to this fight. I just want to make sure that nobody forgets that when His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh wants a fight, he wants two top guys fighting each other, no matter what division it is. And we have to remember that I think that the reason this fight is happening is just because him and Dr. Rakan and the entire team, they wanted the best possible fight for Terence Crawford, and I think that's what he's going to get.
Yeah, well said, Vadim. Let's go to Terence Crawford's trainer, Brian McIntyre. Bomac, so far so good, Bomac, right? Everyone that's tried to step up to Terence Crawford, you found a game plan and you've been able to win every single time. How does this challenge differ? Maybe because of the weight jump?
First of all, I just want to say thank you for everybody, all the promoters, the guys that, putting on the show. We appreciate the challenge. It's a tough fight, man. It's a tough fight. And I told the team and Terrence that, man, we got to be laser focused for this guy. I've been watching him since the amateurs when he fought one of the stablemates. I know what he brings to the table, and I definitely know what his team, his trainers, and them, Joel. They always train hard. They got great champions coming out that camp. But we up for the challenge. Because one thing, we on the mission. We trying to unify. We trying to be undisputed again. So right now we looking at him like, a good challenge, but overall he's just in the way.
Was there any maybe thought about maybe just stepping your toes in the 154-pound division against an elite guy, but maybe not a world champion, just to see how Terence looks at 154?
Well, I'm sure we all feel like this, and I know Bud feel like this, is in order to be the best, you must beat the best. And so far he's the best at 154, and that's what we're looking for. So, we pound for pound number one, and we're going to continue it from 54 to 60, 68, or whatever, So, we ready.
Terence certainly looks ready. I know you will have Terence ready as well. Let's speak to the fighters. I want to start with the champion first, Israel Madrimov. Israel, I was in Riyadh as you destroyed Kurbanov. Up next is a man that is the pound-for-pound number one fighter on the planet. Was there any hesitation in taking this fight?
Assalamu alaikum. Hello everyone. Alhamdulillah, I am happy to be here. When I started pro career, fight best boxers, and now fighting best in the world, pound for pound, Terence Crawford, my favorite boxer. I like his style, and then big respect. But August 3, I will be ready. Как скажем, для этого я всегда боксирую, и когда слышал вот это новости, я рад был слышать этот бой.
There's no hesitation because this is what I've been here in boxing for. And as soon as I heard the news, I was very happy. I knew right away that I wanted this fight.
Terence Crawford, as we all know, unbeaten, a freeweight world champion. You would have watched his fight against Errol Spence, which was supposed to be a 50-50 fight, Israel, and he dominated Errol Spence. What do you think you can do to get the W?
Израиль, он в крайнем своем бою, в 50 на 50 бою, который ожидали, он избил, легко победил Эрла Спенса. Ты, скорее всего, видел этот бой. Что ты думаешь об этом бое и чего ты ожидаешь в бою?
I'm not Errol Spence. I'm Israel Madrimov, and this is my division. I can.
It's his division, Terence, right? You are jumping up to his division, which is true. There were so many names linked with your move to 154 pounds. Maybe Errol Spence, potentially Sebastian Fundora. There was a lot of talk about Jamel Charlo. Why Israel Madrimov?
Well, I consider
Israel the best 154 pounder in the division right now. So why not go for the top guy in the division right off the bat?
What are your goals, Terence? You've done it all. You're a certain first ballot Hall of Famer. You're pound for pound #1. You've been undisputed in 2 weight classes. As you move up to 154 pounds, what are the goals?
You said what?
What are the goals as you now move up to 154 pounds?
Just continuing being the best. You know, I want to leave a legacy that's never been left before. You know, inside and outside the ring. Business minded. Just helping the young fighters coming up, you know, giving them the courage and the outlet that the fighters before me never gave to us, you know, and at the same time be at the top on my game as well.
So far, you've seen so many different styles and you've been able to conquer every single style. Do you think Israel does something different from what you've seen in your previous opponents?
No, not at all. You know, like, I didn't see it all. I didn't been up against it all. He's very talented. He's strong. I didn't fought strong people before. He got good footwork. I didn't fought people with good footwork before. Elusiveness. I didn't fought people that's elusiveness. So, you know, it's just a part of me, you know, dictating what I want to do in the ring and taking away the things that he liked to do.
You heard Bomac there mention you could go to 160. He said 168. He thinks you could be another multi-weight world champion. Do you have aspirations of going further up the weight class?
Well, right now we at 154, you know, so I'm going to make my mark at 154, and then if I'm still around boxing, then we'll see what the future holds. But right now, I'm going to make my mark where I'm at.
Indeed you will. Eddie, Riyadh season so far has proven to host some of the best boxers on planet Earth. How good is it? We've seen Israel Madrimov in Riyadh season, obviously first time seeing the pound for pound #1 in Riyadh season.
Yeah, I think, you know, as I said earlier, His Excellency listens to the fans, and you're seeing so many incredible fight nights in Riyadh and Saudi Arabia. Of course, the undisputed heavyweight world championship between Tyson Fury against Alexander Usyk just a couple of weeks away, and 2 weeks after that, Bivol Beterbiev at 175. I think one of the greatest fights in the sport. The 5v5 beneath that. It's just the most beautiful time for the sport. But as I said earlier, His Excellency reads, he listens. US fight fans, UK fight fans are saying, hold on, when are we going to get a taste of Riyadh season? So what does he do? He goes and brings the pound for pound #1 in the sport to Los Angeles for a Riyadh season event. So, you know, we owe him a huge amount of gratitude, not just for this incredible fight, but for the whole card. But people in boxing know this is a tremendous fight. This is going to be a war. This guy is so strong. He punches so hard. Terence is right. He's got great footwork. He's very elusive. He's very smart. And you're talking about the guy probably with the best IQ in the sport to the right. So this is a pure matchup. This is a technical matchup. There's going to be, you know, skill. There's going to be pressure. There's going to be power. And I'm looking forward to see how Terence can move to 54. Because sometimes I keep saying these great fighters will only get beat when they move too high up the divisions. I hope it's on 154. You know, he moves to 60, he moves to 68.
Keep hoping.
You know,
your heart gonna be broken again.
Well, my heart's been broken before, and you know, you done it. You broke my heart in Glasgow once. You broke my heart with Ndongo. So hopefully this time we can reverse the roles. But as I said, all the respect and credit. But make one thing clear, and they know it. This guy is for real. And what Bomac said is 100% right. At the moment, this is the best 154 pounder in the world in Israel Madrimov. And he will give it everything. You're not talking about a guy that's past his best, who's had injuries, who's tight at the weight. You're talking about a fresh fighter that is in his absolute prime in Israel Madrimov. So he's ready for war in Los Angeles on August 3rd.
Final one from both fighters. Israel, you've got a fantastic knockout record. Are you expecting to stop Terence Crawford?
You know, this is boxing. But I try, I do, inshallah.
And Terence, not many people are seeing the final bell when they fight yourself. Is it almost just expecting that you do get the knockout as you always do?
Well, I always tell everybody I never go in the ring looking for the knockout. But if I smell blood and it's there, he out of there.
Good luck to both of you. August 3rd, fantastic main event. Live as well from Los Angeles. This is the big one. Terence Crawford versus Israel Madrimov. Both fighters are going to face off. Back to you, Chris, in the studio.
Wow, this is a terrific fight, Sean. Two of the top guys in boxing, pound for pound, number one, Terence Crawford, Israel Madrimov, coming off his world title win. This is going to be an excellent fight.
Listen, Madrimov, you may not be familiar with the name if you haven't seen DAZN. No biggie. Listen, the guy got the goods. He's got speed. He's got power. He's in your face. He's always hunting you down. You know what I mean? This is a great challenge, if not more than that, ahead of Bud Crawford.
You know, some guys talk the talk. Terence Crawford really walks the walk. He could have jumped up in weight and taken on a lesser opponent, maybe a more well-known opponent. Madrimov is a title holder, but to your point, not the most well-known figure in the U.S. Terence Crawford said, no, I want the very best in my first fight at 154, and I think he's getting it.
Trust me, you know Charlo, you know Zoo, you know there's a host of other names out there at 154. You know Fundora. This guy, I hate to say it, he's better than those guys in his own respective way. You know what I mean? He brings a charisma and a style and an energy to the ring that not many can bring at 154.
Now, you heard Eddie Hearn talking about Madrimov being a huge 154. I don't see too big a size difference right there between those two men. I think Terence is going to fill out 154 pretty well.
Absolutely. Even making 147 against Errol Spence Jr., I think only his second or third fight at 147, give or take. And he said, hey, I've already grown out of 154. He's a big kid. He's a big young man. And he's going to fill in the 154 nicely.
For people that don't know Madrimov all that well, what makes him such a challenge? Because he is only 10-0. Yes, he has that world title strap around his shoulder, but there's not a lot on that professional resume.
Not much on the resume, but here's the thing. He brings a lot of aggression. And it's not just the aggression from a standpoint of a lot of punches or I'm all up on you, you're against the ropes. He brings the mental pressure as well. It wears you down. Every fighter, you got to be honest and say, hey, when somebody's in my face and they keep me thinking, that's one thing you have to do with Terence Crawford. I know that from my own experience. You got to make that man think and make him think and make him keep thinking. And if he gets to a point where he's like, oh, I got you, you probably got.
You shared the ring, as you said, with Terence Crawford in your last fight. What kind of pressure is he going to bring on fight night?
Crawford brings, and that was the pressure that Crawford brought to me. He made me think. I'd never been in the ring with someone that made me continue to think the way that he made me think.
Got a little antsy there between Sean Porter and Terence Crawford. Step right in here. Former rivals become friends here again. Terence, congratulations on this fight. A hell of an event coming up on August 3rd in Los Angeles. You have been mentioned with a lot of names over the last 6 months. Tell us how it came to be that you are fighting Israel Madrimov.
Well, my way to 154 led me to be fighting Israel. I consider him the best, junior middleweight fighter in the division right now. And when Turkey had called me, he was just like, hey, this is a fight that, we want to make. And I was like, hey, let's make it. So, he made everything happen, and here we are.
You've been watching these cards over in Saudi Arabia over the last couple of years. What was it like to get that phone call from Turki Al-Sheikh where he says, hey, I want you to be on my first U.S. show?
Well, like I said, I've been in contact with him, so we've had a relationship since 2001. I believe, when he first reached out to me, but, things happened to where I couldn't, fight. So him telling me that he wanted me to be the face of the first fight in America was just an honor. I was happy. I was just like, let's do it, Why not do it in Omaha, But LA's,
a good second choice. Yeah. No question. Your first time going nose to nose with Madrimov there, what did you see when you looked at him?
Nothing. We months away from fight time. Come fight time, energy is going to be up. Focus is going to be on a whole nother level. And, we both going to come out ready to do what we do to get the job done.
I feel like it's a long time coming. You've had all this in Omaha. You get the love in Omaha. Outside of Omaha, a lot of you've had to really scrape and scratch to get people to respect you, to revere you, to feel like he is that guy. You feel like this is everything you've expected and wanted to be finally getting here?
Well, I gotta disagree with you on that, Sean.
Oh, it is what it is.
You know, everywhere I go in the world, it's all respect. It's all love, and you know, people tell me that they rate me as one of the best fighters in the world today. So I won't say just today I'm getting the love. I always got the love. It's just that, you know, a lot of people hate, and that makes it seem like there's not love there, but it's always been love. But I'm appreciative of everybody that came out, showed support, and you know, August 3rd is going to be an exciting night of boxing because this is a tremendous card, and like Eddie said, I can't remember the last time ever it's been a stacked card as August 3rd card is.
You know, we heard Bomac say that you want to unify the 154-pound division. Is becoming an undisputed champion in a third weight class a priority to you?
Well, it's not a priority, but it's up in the air. You gotta understand. It's potentially 2 belts on the line. You know, if Fondor don't fight me after this, I'm WBO and WBA champion. If he do fight me, then that's 3 belts on the line. There's only 1 more to capture. So, you know, potentially 3 fights. You know, that's undisputed.
And this is a big one going up against Madrimov. When you've watched him some on film, what do you see? What kind of opponent is going to be in front of you on August 3rd?
Well, I don't know. I never like to, you know, guess what's going to be in front of me. We know he can punch. We know he can move. We know he like to put his hands down and be elusive. You know, he got good footwork. So I don't know, you know, but we're going to be prepared for whatever he brings to the table. We're going to train like we always do, and that's, you know, hell in the cell. But, you know, he's going to do the same because we got a good relationship with his coaches, and we know they're going to prepare him to the best of his ability that they can prepare him for, and come fight night, it's going to all explode.
How have you felt? I mean, you're just getting into training camp right now, moving up in weight. Was there an adjustment going from 140 to 147, and do you think there will be a similar adjustment to 154?
I feel great. I always, like I always said, I always sparred bigger guys. I never sparred guys my weight because I was always too strong or hitting too hard, and I never could get the work that I really needed, you know. So moving up in weight is just another stepping stone.
Sean, I want to put you on the spot here for a second there. Crawford, Madrimov, how do you see this fight going?
I see this fight going, my first time looking at it was just this morning, I think. Watched a little bit of Madrimov. I think that Terrence is going to, like he always does, always takes you a couple of rounds to really see exactly what your guy is going to bring to you. I think you're going to get a lot of Madrimov in your face. I think that's what you expect. I expect the stick to come out from Crawford. We know this about Crawford. He starts to fight orthodox, and then he switches southpaw, and he takes over. So I expect him to start the fight orthodox. I might be telling some stories right now. I might be letting the cat out the bag a little bit, but it kind of is what it is, you know. I think this is going to be a fun fight. I think you're going to have your hands full, but I think you're gonna handle it. You always handle it, man. I don't know, man. It's just something about you. I say this about Crawford, man. Some people are just born to do what they do. Boxing and fighting is something that this kid is just born to do.
Bud, what do you think of that assessment?
Well, you know, it could be halfway right, you know, but
you can't. Yeah.
I see, you know, him coming out, jumping on me, trying to make it a fight early, being that I'm in a new division. He want to show, you know, he the boss and that he's the champ. You know, he got to gain respect right out the gate. So I see him, you know, trying to gain that respect from the gate, you know, but we shall see.
We'll see August 3rd, massive fight, first fight, part of Riyadh season UFC. Bud, good luck. It's going to be a great fight in Los Angeles. 3 weeks' time, though, we'll be in Riyadh for the heavyweight unification fight, Tyson Fury against Alexander Usyk, live on DAZN.
Live on DAZN worldwide May 18th. The fight of the century. Tyson Fury versus Alexander Usyk for the undisputed heavyweight championship of the world. Tyson Fury looks to reign as king of the division. But Alexander Usyk is undefeated and coming for the crown. For the first time in over 20 years, all the belts are on the line. Ring of Fire, live on DAZN worldwide, May 18th. Buy now at DAZN.com.
Yeah. 3 weeks' time, Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk will share the ring. Massive heavyweight showdown in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. You can buy that live now on DAZN worldwide. And then August 3rd, the WBA 154-pound title will be on the line. This man, Israel Madrimov, owns that belt right now. He will defend it against Terence Crawford. Israel joining us. Alec will be his translator for this. Israel, I heard you say on stage that Terence Crawford was your favorite fighter. How does it feel going up against your favorite fighter?
Yes, exactly. It's Crawford, my best boxer. And this moment, pound for pound, number one. And then dream fighter. I won when started pro debut. I won as a big name. You know, this moment is coming because I'm happy for the fight.
It was just a few months ago that you won your world title. What was your reaction when you got the phone call that said, hey, you have a chance to defend it against Bud Crawford?
This my line when start pro debut. I want a title shot. I'm a long time waiting this moment. After victory, I'm very happy. My family happy, my country, And then this moment, my time, my dream time.
We know he's your favorite fighter, and we know that you probably only got the call in the last couple of weeks. But how long have you truly been preparing to fight Terence Crawford?
Yeah, all time I see Terence Crawford's career, watching, and then when listen with him fight, I'm happy, and then I say yes, let's go.
You're just getting into your training for this fight, but as you look at Terence Crawford, do you see any holes in his game?
No.
If there's one thing you have to do in order to beat Terence Crawford, what do you think that one thing is? I got to do that or I'm not going to win.
Одна вещь, которую ты должен сделать, чтобы не дать ему победить.
Нарезать свою силу.
I have to make him fight my fight. Make him fight the power, pushing, and fight my style.
You are a decorated amateur fighter, and you are a world champion as a pro. But as a pro, this feels like a big step up in competition. How confident do you feel going up against this level of fighter?
These 10 fights very different, because это достаточно для, для пояса, для такого боя, чтобы я провел такие бои, опытные, опыт у меня достаточно, поэтому это достаточно. Я против Хернандеса, против Волкера и Мишель Сорро я выиграл, поэтому я достаточно, я считаю, это соперники для боя.
There's a difference in 10 fights. Those 10 fights that I fought, not many have fought, and I have enough experience bringing my amateur background, fighting all the Olympians and world champions, and I beat all of them. And now in the pros, I debuted against Hernandez, who's still beating up all the prospects. I fought Walker. I fought Michel Sora, who's one of the best 154-pounders in the world still. So it's a little bit different experience. Yes, Crawford is great, but I also have experience behind me.
You train you're from Uzbekistan.
Yes.
But you train right down the street in Indio, California. Does this feel like a home game for you in this fight?
Yes, exactly. We are the 6th year in California training camp. We are team. We are family. Joel Diaz, Antonio Diaz, Benjamin Hernandez, Alek Frolov. We are the team. We are the family. Because here, my second home.
only having 10 professional boxing matches, though, I have to ask, do you think that the timing is right for this fight against Terence Crawford, someone who's been virtually unstoppable his entire career, multi-division champion? Is this too soon, or is this right on time for you?
Yes. When?
When?
When is the right time?
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Are you asking me? I
Yeah.
want to tell you when? I don't know.
Just saying when it's not now.
The time is now. Israel, good luck. It's going to be a great event on August 3rd, Los Angeles. Amazing opportunity for you, an amazing fight at 154 pounds. We appreciate you stopping by here.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I will see Israel back on August 3rd. And look, this is going to be just a massive event in Los Angeles. Sean, you look at the top of the bill, Terence Crawford against Madrimov, but you go all the way down to the bottom, and you have the kind of fights that could headline shows of their own, big and small. Andy Ruiz against Jarrell Miller, that could headline here in New York City. David Morrell, he has been headlining some recent shows.
You just need those 5 fights. You don't need to start a fight night, at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. All you need is those 5 fights right there. Whoever paid the ticket to watch the boxing matches, whoever buys the pay-per-view, they're getting more than they deserve, okay? Forget more than you want. You're getting more than you deserve with that card right there. I mean, top to bottom, I love the Jose Valenzuela, Isaac Cruz fight. I love seeing Andy Ruiz get in the ring with Jarrell Miller. Top to bottom, I mean, the card's beautiful.
I'm a sucker for heavyweights, and the Andy Ruiz-Jarrell Miller fight reminds me a little bit of the Deontay Wilder Zheli Zhang fight, because it is a crossroads fight, right?
Yes.
We talked earlier about Wilder against Zhang, winner kind of go home.
Yeah.
Kind of the same thing for Andy Ruiz and Jarrell Miller.
Absolutely, in the same level. You know what I mean? Andy's been out of the ring for a little while. Even though Jarrell Miller just fought, he's had some issues of his own. So they both collectively have had out of the ring issues, which means when they come together, they're on the same playing field. We saw Deontay Wilder's last fight. Of course, we saw Zheli drop his last fight as well. Same level, you know what I mean? So I just think that right now it's hot. It hasn't been consistently hot, but right now the heavyweight division is as hot as it's going to be, especially with Alexander Usyk and Tyson Fury getting in the ring in a matter of weeks as well.
You look up and down that schedule, and there are big fights after big fights. You have got Fury against Usyk on May 18th, the 5v5 on June 1st, topped by Artur Beterbiev against Dmitry Bivol. In just less than 2 weeks' time, or right around, I should say, 2 weeks' time, we get a super middleweight showdown between Canelo Alvarez and his Mexican countryman, Jaime Munguia.
Canelo Álvarez. Jaime Munguia.
Canelo versus Munguia, live on DAZN, May 4th.